Hello, everyone, and welcome to the TOROSIETE Museum of Contemporary Art. My name is Keith Tomlin, and today we are honored to be joined with one of our new artists live from Argentina, Valeria Feliú. Hello, Valeria, how are you?
Hi, I'm good, thank you.
Thank you for being with us tonight, and we are doing a live virtual tour of Valeria's new exhibition that we have created in our virtual museum. Those of you that are not familiar with the TOROSIETE Museum of Contemporary Art, we are an online fine art museum and museum gallery. We create 3D virtual exhibitions of our artists' works. We create these works in a space that allows you to view the works in true to scale environments. You can navigate through the exhibition from your computer, from your mobile device, from the privacy of your own home at any time. And what we like to do as well is we create lots of videos and other content to explain the works, to educate our viewers about the artists. And part of that series is what we're doing tonight is sort of an opening reception for this exhibition. It's been up for a few weeks now, but this is our first opportunity to talk with Valeria about the works and about the exhibition and to share it with you. And so tonight I want to also orient you to how to connect to the exhibition itself. If you haven't had a chance to view the exhibition, you can go to our website, torosiete.museum, and from the homepage, there'll be links to all of our various exhibitions, but you can also go directly to Valeria's exhibition homepage by using the link valeria.torosiete.museum. And that will take you specifically to her exhibition space, and you can learn more about her as an artist, see the exhibitions that she has currently. This video will appear there as well once it's finished. And so this is the central location to find all of the things that are going on about Valeria in our museum. Over time, we hope to have additional exhibitions that you will find here as well. But today we're focused on talking about this one new exhibition, which is titled Portrait of a Thought. And we're going to take a peek at it. I'm going to show you how to use it. But before we go there, I want to again welcome you to the broadcast. I want to let you know that we want this to be an interactive experience. We want you to participate in this. So please, if you are on Zoom and you would like to join us, if you would like to ask a question live on video, just let me know by clicking on the button that says raise your hand. There's also a chat area where you can ask questions in the chat. You can also tell me in the chat that you would like to ask your question live for all of us. So just let us know. We will get to your questions when we can, and we would love to hear your questions. If you're watching on Facebook, you can also chat with us in the chat in Facebook, and we will try to respond to your questions live as well. There's a slight delay between us live and what's on Facebook, so just be aware of that. If you're wondering if we've moved on to another topic, we may come back to your question once we see that it's there. So I just want to again welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us, and let's just start off by Valeria. Tell us a little bit about this exhibition, Portrait of a Thought. What is the exhibition about?
Well, the exhibition is about us, basically. What happens when you paint a portrait, at least to me, and when that portrait has this realistic sense of it, something strange happens, because you start feeling as that is a person. I'm not cuckoo with this comment, but the thing is that while you're working on that face and you're getting into these, mostly the eyes and the view, you start thinking about what's beyond that face, what's beyond that eyes. And then it took me to really start investigating the situation about the thoughts. What are we? What defines us as human beings? And that is what we think, our thoughts. And that took me to a very broad and fantastic area, which is the neuroscience. And you have a lot of branches in neuroscience. And the one that got me really interested about is this, about the thoughts and how that determines our living, our quality in living. And the fantastic thing about this is that there's no other organ in the entire body that you can do that. You cannot take your liver or your lungs and put them in the table and say, okay, what's wrong here? What should I change to make things better for my life? But you can do that with your brain, with your thoughts. And if you are aware of it, you can change the way your life is going, or make a better sense of enjoying your life just with the ability of keeping a good control of what you think. Say, for instance, words or I don't know, it's a whole big topic, but actually that's what motivates me, or what's underlaying all these paintings.
Yeah, I mean, you can see most of these paintings, well, all in this collection, but even your other works that are not part of this collection, there are portraits. They're predominantly women's faces, but they have these amazing outfits, patterns, combinations of symbols. And we'll get to all of those when we look at the specific works. But yeah, that's an amazing explanation of what this is all about, because when you look at your paintings, the expressions on the faces, the poses, the outfits of the combinations are just amazing. And I can't wait to show people more of the details, and the questions are starting to come in, and we're going to get to those questions. But first, I want to show people how to access your exhibition, how to navigate through the exhibition, and just a sneak peek at it. And then we'll get into talking about specific pieces.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's do that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show what happens if you access directly going to our website, and we're going to, I'm taking us, this is currently our main page of the website. If you go to torosiete.museum, you can through and see various exhibitions of works that are currently available, our artists and their profiles, and accessing videos that we've made, because one of the things that we'll be doing with your exhibition as well is we will be going inside of your exhibition and presenting some information for viewers to learn more about these specific paintings and you as an artist as well. But if they go to any of these links or go directly to your page, Valeria Feliú or valeria.torosiete.museum, you're going to be able to read a short bio and a selected CV. Valeria is based in Argentina. She has traveled. She spent a lot of time in Australia. You've had exhibitions all over the place. And we're fortunate enough to have our first one with you with Portraits of a Thought. There's two versions of this exhibition in our museum. We create a 3D exhibition, which is what we're going to view today, but we also create what we call an interactive exhibition. So the interactive exhibition allows you to look at the works more of sort of like a slideshow view, where you can go through and view each of the works and click on a specific work and find out more information about the work. You can see detailed photographs of the painting. We get really close and show you aspects of the painting. We also put the painting in a room so that you can get a sense of the perspective of scale, the size of the works when they appear in a room. So that is what we call our interactive exhibition. But what we're more excited about and what we like to show off is our interactive virtual exhibition. So if you click on that link, you will be presented with the artist statement, and we have this both in English and in Spanish for people to read the artist statement. And you'll be presented with a screen that will load the 3D exhibition in a window. We have a brief artist statement here, but when you click on enter, you'll get a little bit of help on how to navigate through this exhibition. It's very simple. You can use, depending on the device, if you're using the desktop computer, which is our preferred method because you can make it really large on the screen. The resolution is incredible. You can really zoom in on the works. But you can use the mouse to navigate. You can use the keyboard controls to navigate. And so you can also make this full screen, which I'm going to do by clicking here on this little box that will make this very large so that we can experience this in great detail. At the bottom of the screen, there is a catalog, and you can scroll through the works in this catalog. And if you click on one of them, the system will automatically take you to that work in the exhibition. But you can turn that off if you want. I don't like it because it blocks my vision. I like to be fully immersed inside of the exhibition. So you can just use the mouse or the keyboard controls. If you're using a tablet or a phone, you may have to download an app to view the exhibition, but it will prompt you through that. And once you do, you'll be able to just swipe, pinch, and zoom and use your finger to point your way through. At any time, you can click on an artwork that you see on the screen and it will take you to that artwork. If you're watching this on Zoom, it is not as smooth as it is real life. So it's jerking a little bit to take you to the work, but in real life, it's a very smooth transition. You can zoom in using the arrow keys and get very, very close to the artwork. You can see all of the details. You can zoom back out. You can walk around the exhibition. So I'm just going to step us through a little bit here, just so that we get an overview of what is here in the exhibition. I just want to sort of show everyone what we have. And what we'll do is we'll take questions, we'll pick a piece of work, and we'll talk about specific works. Many of these works are available for sale. We have a museum gallery store, and when you're using the exhibition, you can click on the work and it will tell you its status if it's available. We also have a museum gallery store, and there are links to all of this inside of Valeria's page. But there are not many left. A lot of them are sold. Also, just to help you navigate through the virtual exhibition, there's title information that appears next to the work, but over in the upper right-hand corner of the screen, you may not be able to see it because our faces are there, but when you're doing this, there is a button you can click on that will give you more information about the painting. You can also invite people to view the painting. You can share a link to that work. You can inquire a link to our gallery store to see if that work is available. Over on the left-hand side, there's other controls. You can look at the introduction again to the exhibition. You can email a particular painting to a friend if you want to share that with someone. You can also click on, if you notice, there are people inside of the exhibition, and these people are here to give you a sense of scale, to show you how big the room really is and how they compare with the size of the paintings. Those links, those people you can turn off if you don't want to see the people, and they'll change, they'll disappear, and they'll move around. But you can click on this button here to turn the people off. If they're distracting you, you can show the people. And there's, again, instructions on how to navigate the exhibition. So that's a little overview of using the exhibition and navigating through the system. And we're going to come back to this because we want to talk about specific pieces. But I want to come back to us live because I want to ask Valeria our first question that we have. Do you use models for your portraits? Like real people?
No, real people, no. I used to do that when I was younger, and it was a very interesting, more like a study situation. But I'm not working live. It's not an easy task to have someone sitting there for a whole lot of time, and it's not. I have like a very personal way of working with the material. I don't know if I could, because it takes me a lot of time actually to develop the work. It's layer upon layer upon layer. So I start mostly with a real face, and then I work drawing and changing a bit the scales. I play a bit with the scale of the nose or the mouth or the eyes, and that gives me a final result when I get there and I say, okay, this face is looking the way I like it, to have the energy and the time to put it on a canvas. It's not something that it just comes out easy. It's something that you have to work out. So it really has to appeal me to make that effort and enjoy the process.
Yeah, I mean, so you don't even do you use photographs sometimes of faces, or are you coming up with, yeah.
Yes. I use photographs as the starting point, as a face that triggers my interest and my connection with it. And then after that, I usually change it. I change the features, the sizes of the features, till I usually transform them a little bit, right, from the. If there is, for example, a commission where the face has to be the same, I keep it the same. But when it's my own work, I like to play a bit around and change proportions.
Yeah, change the lips or the nose or the eyes or, or something to make it slightly.
The space in between the, to give it like another, it kind of becomes another person.
Right.
So it takes the property in the painting, which is different from the initial photograph that sparks me the intention to create that painting.
Right. And so you mentioned earlier about the exhibition in general being inspired by, neuroscience and getting us in tune with the thoughts of these muses or inspirational people or people that inspire you. What comes first when you're creating one of these paintings? Do you think to yourself, because we'll see some of the titles as we look at some of the works, but do you think to yourself, this painting is going to be about something specific, or does it sort of evolve as you're creating them?
Yes, usually when I start, mostly, every time I start a series, I start with a word in mind. And that word it helps me to have a consequence, like a path where I go working, painting through painting, and they all coherent. It's not something, coming out from the, what happens sometimes is that you have a painting for a long time and you bring it up to work and it's not coherent with the work you're doing now. So for avoiding that, I started with a word. So in the case of, it was not that painting, but another painting, for example, it was light, brightness. That was the word that I took in mind to create those words. So I got lost. Oh my God. You asked me about what comes first.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Then all the pieces come together. I make sketches for around, I don't know, maybe 20 works. And then I choose 8 or 9, which I feel are the ones that I like the most. And then I'll take them to the canvas, and that can be a process of maybe 8 months, 9, 10 months. So in all that time where you're working and you are coming on and off with these pieces, the titles come up at the end, at the very end, when I see the painting finished, and it's like, okay, what are you telling me? What's your story? So then I can see the story of that particular woman or portrait or whatever I'm seeing there. So it's evolved. It evolves in itself, and then yes, the title is something that appears afterwards as a result of all that work.
Right, right. So I want to take us back inside the exhibition, because the next question is about things that you do with your paintings. So I want to do that. So let's go back inside, and I want to focus in on, and really it doesn't matter which one I pick for this question, but or it's not really, well, it's a question, but it's also a question about your technique. I mean, when we look at this painting, for an example, Twins 2 Alter Ego, and this is a great example of what you do in many of these works is, you obviously have the very detailed face, but then you have these wonderful textures and patterns, not only in the outfits of what they're wearing, but also these backgrounds, these beautiful wallpapers. What is sort of your inspiration on that? I mean, if you look at here, you can really see the intricacy of your work here and how you've created these amazing textural aspects of your works.
Yes, that's right. Well, patterns, I have a big love for patterns. Many years ago, I was taking a course in computer programming, blah, blah, blah. And for getting there, I have to pass through a room where they were teaching pattern making. And it was terrible because I stuck my face in that little window, watching all the machines and big tables, and oh my God, I want to be there creating patterns, not going to study computer, but it was for that time what was happening. So this love for patterns that was always in myself. I remember being very little, and Mom gave me a notebook that was how do you call it? With it was not with lines, but with little boxes, like cuadriculado.
Like a grid, like a graph paper.
Yes. And that and with that a box of markers, of color markers. So it was going anywhere that you have a child having to wait for a long period of time, and I would spend my entire day probably making these patterns with the different colors over these grids. It was something really amusing for me. And then as we grow older and we get a better notion about what's surrounding us, I found that pattern in itself, it's something that they talk, patterns talk. They are like a silent voice of mostly cultural intertwining. So there's an interesting thing that I'm doing in Instagram where I post a specific pattern and then I write about the history of that pattern. And it's amazing, at least to me, see a pattern and then understand the whole history that's behind that pattern. So there's something very playful and very enjoyable for watching a pattern that seems to be, I don't know, you can get in there and get lost in this very, how would you say it? It doesn't come the word. It doesn't matter. It's enjoyable, the pattern. It's something that comes and goes.
Yeah, no, it's a signature aspect of your paintings, and so that's why I'm glad someone asked that question about it, because people really should also check out your Instagram. It's Feliú Art on Instagram, and so they can see what you're talking about with doing these analysis or discussions about these patterns. I want to go back in to the exhibition and look at some more paintings, and I have some specific questions about specific paintings. But again, we do have in this collection, we have several that have that sort of pink background with those elaborate patterns, but not all of them do. But if the works don't have the pattern, they certainly have a lot of other things that are going on. One of the things that I find very interesting is, and maybe this is my interpretation, but you have what I think is some symbolism in your works. You'll have a work that maybe innocently has a bird or something, but for an example, in this work here, don't let unawareness prevent us seeing reality. And in this work, we see the figure, again, the very detailed face. We see an overlay of patterns. We see a bird. We see sort of the fabric of the outfit. Is there a message here? Is this something deliberate or something that's just evolving as you're creating this painting?
This particular painting, it's a different story because I was invited to participate in a group exhibition by Milo Lockett, which is an Argentinian painter, and the topic of the exhibition was the International Day of Awareness of Breast Cancer Awareness. So that was the case, the only case, at least in this period, where I had to start the other way around. Okay, I have a concept and I have to create something upon that concept. So I was thinking about the idea of the Awareness Day is for women to go and check themselves.
Right.
For avoiding, the breast cancer issues and all that. So here it was the female person being kind of middle aware. I mean, when you don't have the, I will say, tools, educative tools to go ahead and make yourself a checking, you are under risk. So here is a way of showing how not knowing that you have to go and check yourself, it's making you watching halfway, it's
yes.
like you're going with, yes, you're not fully aware of taking care of yourself in this case. And for that, you have to accept what was, don't let awareness prevent us seeing reality. Well, reality is that you might be in danger. So
that's right. I mean,
go
it's
ahead.
often, yeah, it's sorry, I don't want to interrupt you, but I just want to make the point clear that, you know, even if we're not aware of an illness, doesn't mean that we don't have it. So
that's right. Yes, exactly that.
Yes, that's right. Like the illness doesn't care whether or not you believe in it or not. It's going to happen if it's there. Yes. Yes, for sure. That's fantastic. So another one I wanted to talk about, we have a lot of works with birds.
Oh,
is
yes,
there
I love
a fondness for birds? Is there, do they symbolize something for you, or are they just, you know, obviously beautiful?
Well, they're not there on purpose. They just flew inside the window and stood upon the painting because it's something strange. Actually, those birds are flying around my windows. There's a woody woodpecker. I have 2 woody woodpeckers flying around, and there's the kitupis, which is the other one. It's a very big, massive birds. And what happens is that anytime I see these birds flying around and they stand very, very close, my heart just stops. I have such a happiness feeling of seeing these birds right there in front of me that it's like a very economical happiness, instant feeling. And that's also something that has to do with your thinking, with your thoughts, and how you look at things. Because many times people can be feeling that, okay, in terms to feel happy, you have to achieve big things. And that's great. But there's also the very mundane life that happens every single day and every single moment. And the idea of this is stopping and being able to enjoy and really feel happiness for little things in life, as for example, the birds that are flying around you, or whatever, any other thing that you might have around you. This also has to do with that portraits of a thought, giving that importance to thinking and how you manage these things, this thinking in your head that will drive you one way or another. So yes, birds are a very happy feeling for me.
Yeah, they're absolutely beautiful the way you paint them as well.
Thank you.
We have another question. What is your favorite medium and oil brand that you use? Because I know most of these paintings are mixed media or oil based, but do you have a favorite medium that you use, or a favorite brand of oil paint that you use?
Oil is definitely I don't make mixed media here. Maybe like a first wash in acrylics, but then it's all done with oil. Well,
there was one that had charcoal. That's why I said.
Oh, yes, that's right. Yes. That's right. That's charcoal and acrylic.
Right, but the majority, yes, are most of these, except for I think one, which we'll get to, is all oil on canvas. That's right. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Well, living in Argentina, it makes it a bit hard to get into or go to an art shop and have a big brand, a big, how do you call it? Different brands to pick up from. Yeah. We don't have that.
Yeah.
So occasionally, I can make these Winston & Newton brand bring them in. And also the Alba, which is the local brand that we have, which is a good quality oil. I work with those, but mostly there was a time where I became really, really obsessive with the pigments that are inside the oils, because it's not that much of the oil in itself, because that's just the medium, but you
Right.
have the pigments, that each pigment has a certain life saved. So, for example, yellows and reds are really, I will not say dangerous, but they are very, very tricky to work with. And I don't want a painting from, I don't know, 50 years to look like the colors are changing. So
Yes.
I took away almost more than half of my entire oil tubes away, because they had maybe one pigment in that component of a color that had this, kind of middle or low rate life. So yes, that was something really, I got into that, because sometimes I saw a painting like it was, I don't know, for example, some work that has been done 30 years ago or 20 years ago, and you see it and what happened with this painting? It looks dead, mostly the browns. And that's because of that, because all the yellows and reds compounding the brown are going faded. So it's not the same work. And
Yeah.
I thought about that, and I said, no, I don't want for this to happen with my painting. So I went very strict with that.
Yeah, no, that's really exciting that you even think about that, because I think, most people don't even consider the longevity or the even thought about this. I mean, when we think about ancient artworks and how they have to be restored, and they almost don't look like what we're used to seeing, because all of the years of fading have changed, and you're like, wow, they used to be so vibrant at one point, and it almost doesn't look correct now that we're used to seeing it dull. But the reverse, thinking about that, that's really interesting. And you're right, some of these colors do fade, and they don't appear the same at all. And I never thought myself I thought of, okay, if you have a yellow and it fades, but it never occurred to me to realize that as these are mixed, that affects everything. So yeah, that's
right.
Very interesting, very interesting. So since we brought up the mixed media, and there's one in this exhibition, let me go ahead and take us to that painting, because again, like we mentioned, all of these works are oil on canvas, except for the one here on the end. And this one you've used, this is called You and Your Big Ideas. This is the one that you find acrylic and charcoal for the portrait.
That's right. I thought, okay, I'm going to make this one, is going to be easy. Charcoal on canvas. My God, it was such a difficult thing to manage the tones. It's very different to work on paper than work on canvas and cloth with charcoal.
Yeah.
So yes, this was the first one done with charcoal. I'm working now other ones on paper with ink also, but yes, that was a mixed media one. I really play a lot aside from the paintings. I love making art journaling with these big books that I even create myself with paper I found anywhere, and there I do lots of mixed media, but it's different when you take it into a painting. And this particular face, it was getting into a different ethnicity, and for that I felt I had to be a bit, because many people ask, oh, why don't you paint people of other ethnicity, which is a very interesting topic. but you have to be very aware of the, how do you call it? Los rasgos, the characters of the nose and the eye and the mouth. It's not that you can do whatever. So I take the time to study. For example, now I'm making some work with people from the indigenous from the north of Argentina that has to do with the collas. So you have to see how, for example, the nostrils and the distance between the nostrils and the upper lip, it's not the same. And at the same time, it's incredible thinking that humans have how many features identifies us? Eyes, nose, mouth, and the circle of the face, and that's it. And we're all different. We are millions and millions and millions of people, and you never have the same face with another one. That's an amazing thing, also coming from nature.
Yeah, it is amazing, and that's something that obviously it's very part of the attention to detail. I mean, your portraits, your faces are almost, I mean, you can tell that they're paintings, but they're so photorealistic, and you take such care to realize them so accurately. And that's a great statement you made about the fact of, if you're painting different ethnicities and different characteristics, you want to be accurate about not simply, showing a different skin tone, but you're also highlighting the beautiful features of every different aspect of a human that could be there.
That's right, because something, for example, very interesting that I found out studying this ethnicity right now that has to do with the collas is that, for example, for them, how do you call the vitriol? I mean, what
the profile?
you have, it's inside the eye. It's like the white part of your eye.
Okay.
They have like a different way of showing the end of the iris when it gets touching with the white part. It's and I go and see all the, yes, that's like, oh wow, this is different in all of them. It's like, I don't know, like a yes, like a pattern, like a DNA pattern maybe that makes it that way.
We have a question talking about faces from Marina. She wants to know, what is your ideal face to paint? Do you have an ideal face to paint?
No, I'm very drawn by the, would say, how do you call it, Botticelli era, like a pre-Raphaelist period.
Right.
That sort of female face really haunted me. Yes, Botticelli, Van Eyck. I mean, that type of faces, I feel drawn to. It's like they capture my, I don't know. It's like a yes. I just spend lots of time looking at them. Maybe, yes, like very old kind of faces.
Yeah, we have a comment from one of our fellow museum artists, Noel Suarez. He just says, hello, we're watching and we love your work.
Oh, thank you so much. That's really lovely to hear, because yes, there's like a connection. I feel that art is a very nice connecting point where people meet, where people have a certain sensitivity that that allows you to share that, what you do and what other people feel with your work or see in your work. That also happens to me with other artists' works.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's got to be so. It's interesting for me seeing how there's so much out there, so much work out there, and
Yes.
so many different things and different ways of interpreting things. And it's so exciting to see how everyone views the world and sees things differently. And it's all, you know, so exciting to see. I want to go back into the exhibition again. This time, I want to talk about, you were talking about some sort of inspirations in terms of Botticelli and some of that very classical works. I'm drawn to this one because this one obviously invokes, in my mind, some Klimt, you know, some Gustav Klimt. We have obviously some of the golds and the patterns, but he was considered like a neoclassical or a symbolist or a neo-expressionist. Or do you identify with any particular movement like that, or is it more of just?
Well, there was maybe 2 years of my life, very back in time, that I went with to a studio. I studied with a painter, with a very well-known Argentinian painter. His name is Adolfo Negro, and he was a disciple of Joaquín Torres Garcia. And they created this movement called Universal Constructivismo.
Yeah,
it's not
constructivist movement or something like that. Yeah.
Yes. So that was the only, I would say, because I didn't go to the art school. So this is also something that the faces comes out in a very natural way, and I cannot really swift very much that details that you're mentioned, because sometimes I want to make like a big mess in the face, but it doesn't come out naturally. And the constructivism, I think that comes out in this type of work where, yes, you have starting from Kandinsky, and then you have all these constructivist movements that I don't identify in a very direct way, but I do love them a lot. And many years ago, I used to watch for so long time all the paintings from that movement, constructivism, which one? Well, yes, Klimt, and there are lots of them actually.
Yeah.
But yes, I do feel that they are inside myself, because I grew up looking at them and admiring them a lot.
Yeah, so we had a comment from Noel that he loves that one. It's great how you can play such a nice tribute to Klimt, even if you're not aware of it.
Oh, right. No, yes. Well, I saw it afterwards. I said, oh, yes, this is so Klimty. And yes, it was like a tribute, but I saw it afterwards. Because once when you're working, you're very like in the front feel, in the front, how do you call it? In the front chair. You have to get back a little bit, and then you see what the result is. But yes,
Right.
Klimt is definitely.
When you're in the moment, right? When you're in the moment creating it, you're just doing it, and then when you take a step back and look at it, you're like, oh, okay, I see what happened there. Yeah.
Yes, but I still I start with a certain idea of what I want it to look like. But in the process, it can vary, it can change, it cannot go that way that you had planned in the first place.
Right. So we're getting close to time, but I wanted to talk about one more painting, because this one especially is sort of a recurring theme in several of these works in terms of the pattern. that you're using, including the one that's behind you and another one in the exhibit. I'm telling everyone, there has been left a tiger in my heart.
Yes. Okay, well, this painting is basically that, playing with like a central specific focal point that it's the face, and then it's like a dance of patterns with that. Those yellowish things resemble kind of a gold medal.
Yes.
Things, yes, attached there in this cloth with movement, but at the same time, as I make the details, I don't want to get that realistic. So that's kind of a struggle also in when I'm working or when I get to a final result. Like, be realistic, but not that much. So that's a bit of what's going on there.
Yeah. Because and I guess that sort of goes back to that whole thought of constructionism a little bit. You have,
yes,
you have the realistic facial features that are almost photorealistic, and then you go into these patterns that sometimes become abstract, these outfits that have these movements and almost expressionistic or
yes.
impressionistic qualities. So it definitely is a combination of techniques and things that make these so beautiful.
Thank you. Yes, I think that this, seeing it now and hearing you, I think that goes back again to that idea of constructing ourselves in this, constructing our thoughts, and from those thoughts and that kind of, or the quality of your thinking, it will determine the quality of your life, the quality of who you are. And that's something that we can change. That's something that I really like about this thinking situation. We can always change what we think.
That's right. I mean, that's a perfect summary of what we were talking about, the whole theme of this, and that is your connection with our brain and what can we change, and we can change our brain and the way of thinking about things, and so that you are just changing the way you're representing these things. So that is, we have, someone wants to see the painting that we were just looking at again. Let me just put it back up on the screen. This is, there has been left a tiger in my heart again, and this is very similar. You have one behind you, one of the twins, I believe, and then we have another one of the twins behind me that all have this tiger print. I think this is twins number 2, and again with similar ground, but again this sort of combination of elements with the background, with the foreground, the pattern, and the face. So
that's right.
So again, for those watching, have all of these works are oil on canvas, except for the one work that we talked about before, which is a mixed media on paper, which is
canvas,
the work.
Canvas. Sorry.
Oh, it is on canvas. You're right. Mixed media on canvas. This is you and your big ideas. Yes, you were mentioning other works that you're experimenting on paper with, with ink and other things.
That's here like that. In the studio, yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I think we have made it to our time. I want to thank everyone for watching. I really appreciate you being with us here tonight to talk more about what the exhibition is about, a little bit more insight, but we'll be seeing you again because I know we'll be doing more exhibitions and more videos. I would love to, spend some more time on each of these paintings, need their own session on because they're so incredible. But thank everyone for watching. Thank you for being here. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I want to thank you as well. Thank you for the possibility of creating these spaces that brings us together from different parts of the world, and thank the people that are here watching and following in Instagram, because they're a very nice, supportive companionship.
Yeah, well, we love you, we love your work, and we're so excited that this is just the beginning of getting more of your works in our museum. We absolutely love what you're doing and the concept behind all of it. It's just absolutely beautiful. So thank you. And I'm grateful that we can have a medium where we can show works from all over the world and be talking to you from thousands of miles away. So it's a wonderful thing. And thank you for all of that. So everyone watching, please visit the entire exhibition on your own time when you have a chance to. It's not going anywhere. It's in our museum, and you can get there directly by going to valeria.torosiete.museum. You can also click on all the various links on the website. Follow Valeria at Feliú Art, and follow us on Instagram as well at TOROSIETE. And thank you again for watching, and thank everyone for being a part. Have a great evening.